so we have day 3 of the Resto Mod Teardown 1970 C10 Chevy pickup frame off restoration. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be draining the tank to make sure we get this old tank out. We're going to be relocating the tank to the back at a future video. But this tank right here needs to come out. I don't like having a bunch of fuel behind my back. And this is also going to be a vehicle for my son, so I don't want him driving around with that fuel behind his back. We're going to be going to the passenger side to dig out the remaining components on the interior. But as you can see behind me, we've actually got a lot of it already taken out. There'll be a time lapse of that video. So follow along and we will help you get this thing drained without siphoning it through your mouth and then potentially coming through your nose, which I have done before. It is not fun. So stay tuned. So a lot of people know this trick. I used to siphon gas the way my grandfather did it, which was to put the tube down in the tank, suck on it to get the siphoning started, and then it comes out into your container. But unfortunately, that doesn't work so well. I've had to go through my nose before, had to wash out my mouth, and plus it's probably not very good for your brain. So what you're gonna do is go to Home Depot, get some of this tube. This tube's super cheap. It's just a landscape irrigation tube. Just get the thin kinds, super cheap kind. You're gonna take it, you're gonna put it in your tank. You're gonna shove it all the way down until you know it's at least close to the bottom. You're gonna let that piece come all the way down so you can put it in your gas can. You're gonna cut it, you're gonna shove it in your gas can. Then you're gonna take a separate piece right here. This separate piece is gonna also go in your tank, and you're gonna use it to blow on it to start the siphoning process. So what you'll do is you take a rag, you will stick it in like this to clog up the extra air from coming out when you blow on it. And take a deep breath, don't breathe in from this, you're gonna blow real hard. There you go, now it's started. So it's gonna go ahead and siphon out all the gas that's left in the tank. There will probably be some left over, but that's fine. We'll end up dumping it in once we get the tank out. All right, so next up we're gonna take these 1/2-inch bolts off. You'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts that we're gonna be taking off to get this tank out. We're also gonna have to take out the fuel sending unit as well as the line that leads to the engine right here, and all pretty easy to do though. Alright, so this area here is your fuel sending unit and your line to your engine. What you're gonna do is take a flathead screwdriver. Actually, we'll go ahead and disconnect this line first. We'll disconnect the line and then we'll take out the sending unit. Just to show you how that works. Technically speaking, we could leave the sending unit in, but this is one of the things that tends to come up. Well, one of the problems that a lot of C10s have with them is the fact that this O-ring has a problem and you'll get that gas smell in the vehicle. So you'll just find that these tabs are pretty easy to hit. You just work on the tabs and it spins the... There we go. So this retainer ring comes off, fuel sending unit comes out. Now granted, this is still connected, I would have to pull this off. There we go. And now we have our sending unit we can pull out. With our float and everything that goes with it. So this is usually the O-ring right here that has a problem. This O-ring tends to wear down over time, obviously, and doesn't make a good seal. And then that way, at that point, you get leaking. This had a leak for quite some time. You could tell I replaced the O-ring, but now this tank is gonna be going in the back, below the bed where it belongs. All right, in order to get this tank all the way out, you're gonna need to come down here to where your fuel supply line goes through the bottom of your cab. There is a rubber grommet right here that tends to get really brittle, but you're gonna need to push this down through there, because if you don't, you can't get this flange out, which then means you can't get your gas tank out because there's not a whole lot of room up here unless you angle it just right. So if you're taking it all the way out, I'd say go ahead and just break that and get it done. If you are gonna keep it, then obviously you wanna figure out how you wanna angle this out just right to make that work. So before you remove your tank, you're gonna wanna push this rubber piece down through here so your tank has the ability to pass through the opening. Our tank still has a little bit of fuel left in it. We didn't get it all out. It didn't have enough gas cans to make this happen. But if you do that, it'll make life a lot easier before you start trying to pull on it. All right, so now that we got the gas tank out, you'll see that there's quite a bit of room back here. A lot more room to put a subwoofer, to put other things, custom interior. But overall, we're working our way through the interior and trying to get to being able to take this cab off.